Hello there, and welcome to Free My Mojo podcast number 29. And today we were talking about Make Love Daily. And this has a different connotation for many people, but the intention here is to talk about how you can be a more loving person and express your love to people around you every day. So this goes way beyond a definition of make love that is sexual, though humans have a way of making things sound sexual all the time. So we want to make sure that you understand we're talking about something much bigger than this. In the book, the image is two hot mugs next to each other with steam rising from them. The idea of connection, the idea of creating a unity. And as I got ready to do this podcast, we decided to open up the doors and windows here so that you could hear some of the beautiful birds that are around us that are chirping, and also possibly the ocean. If you've got really good hearing, you'll be able to hear it. But in addition to that, before I started talking, I lit a candle for lavender, and it's a beautiful purple candle. And I lit that candle because it's a ritual. It's a way of showing love. It's a way of calming things. It's a way of expressing how we feel. So the whole idea of Make Love Daily is to ask you how you could feel more love in your relationships, both your relationship to yourself and your relationship to the people who are closest to you, and what you can do to bring more love into that relationship. Now, if you're single, for sure, one of the things that you can do is something that was given to me as great advice many years ago, was that if you think that you are looking for a certain type of loving partner, then make a list of the things you are looking for in that partner, and then be that list. Work on being those loving things on that list that you say you want. Work on them so that you actually are those things. You embody those things, and you're not just looking for those things in someone else. So what's really exciting about this is if you're in a relationship now, what this asks you to do is to look at the ways you could be more loving, to look at the ways you could reach out more to your partner, to look at the ways that you could be more loving to yourself. Let's just be honest. It's very difficult to be loving to other people if we don't feel the love ourselves. So in order to really make love daily, you have to really find a way to have that energy for yourself to make love. I think these birds are just having a huge day out here today. So it's really fun. And one of the things I said to someone a long time ago is I would love to feel that I am like a tree that produces love. So the fruit of my tree is love. So just like an orange tree produces orange, and an apple tree produces apples, and a lemon tree produces lemons. And of course, I could go on with this indefinitely. But here's the challenge to you. If the fruit of your tree is love, when anyone gets fruit from the tree that is you and they squeeze it, they should just get the love juice. They shouldn't get bitterness. They shouldn't get hatred. They shouldn't get resentment. They shouldn't get any of those things. So the whole idea here is that as we grow and as we progress and as we elevate our thinking about life and ourself, we move from this very basic physical level to a much deeper level where what we are is the essence of love. If you think about an essential oil, like it's probably in this lavender candle, an essential oil is something that has been condensed down to its very, very essence. And we know that essential oils can be powerful treatments for things. And I didn't entirely believe in that until I started using them. But what we see is that when we are condensed down, when we are taken at our very core and at our very essence, what we find is that at the root of our being, there is love. At the core of our being, there is love. And this is true for your partner if you're in a relationship, because what your goal is to make your home and your life a haven. What your goal is to have little rituals of connection. The reason we picked these mugs here is because one of the rituals we have is that Ryan makes coffee for me. And I always think that the coffee that he makes tastes better than other coffee. So I just think that it's because it's made with that secret ingredient. Now, I know this is starting to sound super corny and like almost feeling a little sick myself in some of the things I'm saying. But the truth of the matter is this, is that if we know that we are a little love factory and we can generate love and we can create love and we can make love, then what we know is that we don't need the rest of the world to give us love. We don't need love from everybody in the world. Everyone doesn't have to like us. Everyone doesn't have to approve of us. What we find is that when we embrace this, what we realize is we can be dependent on ourselves because we know that all the love that we need can be generated from us and can be directed towards other people. Like right now, I'm loving my neighbor because they just drove up and that was them coming home. So I'm sending love to my neighbor that they're doing well. So back to the Make Love Daily. What are some things? Can you think of 5 things that you can do on a daily basis that show yourself love? For example, today I went for a 7-kilometer walk. I literally walked for, over an hour at a fairly good speed. And I saw so much and I did so much. But for me, taking a long walk, taking a run, going swimming, these are ways that I show love to myself. And I find that the more loving I am to myself, the more loving I can be to other people. And you really cannot expect yourself to be someone who wants to make love or who wants to be loving or create love if you're just not feeling it yourself. So really our job is to embrace the loving elements of ourselves and to really know that at our core, we are loving beings. And in being loving, what are ways that we can create and generate more love? In other words, like look at Heinz. So Heinz is a company, right? And we know that Heinz makes lots of different things. So when we're looking at what Heinz creates, they have all these different brands. All these different things that they create, be it ketchup or mustard or brown sauces or whatever they create. And the same is true for us. If we are a love factory and if we are creating and generating love every day, what are the many aspects of love that we create? And one of those things, without a doubt, is our ability to be sensual. It is our ability to feel love, to feel loved, to love our bodies, to love ourselves, and to be loving towards ourselves and kind towards ourselves. Once we get that mastered, what we want to do is expand that out into our closest relationships and into our intimate relationships. And the word intimate, I remember years ago reading a book, and I think it was Ursula K. Le Guin. I'm not sure, it may have been, but I think she said intimacy, into me see. And I was like, whoa. And however long ago I heard that, it has always stuck to me that the word intimacy means into me see. In other words, when we're intimate with another person, it's that they see into you. And that's really, really what a loving relationship is that someone sees into you and still loves you and still accepts you and still embraces you, and that you love them so that you see into them and you're willing to do that, because everyone we meet won't take the time to know us, won't give us that sense. And I think one of the things that screens and digital media and technology is doing that in many ways is damaging is lacking that intimacy. It's lacking that ability to see into one another, to be seen. So I would just be sitting here on a podcast bullshitting and talking about how great things were and talking in a bunch of cliches that I thought were popular. But instead, I'm really trying to be here and create a space in which I see you and you see into me, and that this is a way to use technology is to share what is authentic and what is true and what is real. So we need ways to keep this love factory going. We need ways every day. And it doesn't say make love, on your birthday and Christmas and special occasions. It says make love daily. And what that means is you have to find ways to extend and express yourself lovingly on a daily basis. Because if you're not, and if 24 hours passes you by and you haven't done anything loving, then tell me this, how loving are you really? Like, are you holding all your love up for Wednesdays? Are you only loving on Wednesdays? Or are you only loving when you feel good enough to be loving? So one of the things I want to encourage for you is to ask yourself, how can I make love daily? How can I show myself or express love to myself each day? Whatever that is, a prayer, a meditation, a kind word, a nap. I'm a fan. Reaching out to a friend you love, reading a book you love. What is it that makes you feel loved? And then figuring out what it is that makes the other people in your life feel loved and being part of that for them and making it possible for them to do that. And it can take many forms. Some time ago, I made a commitment to read a poem a day for a year. And I have to say that reading a poem a day for a year changed me and made me a better person. And my brains was much better, and I was filled with love. And sometimes when I have a very stressful day or a tough day, in fact, I had one recently, I literally will crawl into bed with a poetry book and I will just lie there and I will read it until I feel better. And I have some favorites. I love Mary Oliver, and I love W.B. Yeats, and I love Rumi, and I love Hafiz. Very different poems and poets, I agree. But you can find one on your phone, you can find one online, you can find one anywhere. So you don't need someone to go write a great love poem about how much they love you or write you a song, but you can actually do this for yourself. And you can create a playlist of songs you love and music you love, and you can visit places you love, and you speak with love. Hafiz says, you live in the house of your words. And we want to be sure that the house we're living in is a house of love, and that the people closest to us feel our love and know that they are loved by us, and that we love them. And we can only do that if we're capable of loving ourselves. So my challenge to you is to figure out 5 rituals, 5 things that would show more love to you and in your relationships. And I ask you to really slow down enough to feel that love, because if you're exhausted, if you're tired, it's going to be really, really hard to do that. So much, much love to you. And may this be a moment where you really grasp the things that allow you to feel love is expressed in your life. And may you be an expression of love. Thanks for listening.